Awesome. The next performer is going to give you their stoner-based media observations, I believe. I'm really excited to hear what he has to say. Please welcome to the stage, Derrick Johnson, everyone.
I gotta immediately apologize for bringing down the wholesome energy right now. That's going right out the fucking window. I'm really happy to be up and out of the house for the first time in a really long time. Since the beginning of winter, I've been having a lot of leg problems, and I've been walking with a noticeable limp. So I've just sort of been chilling at home, absorbing stoner-based media. And the reason I've been living is because in 2013 I was in a really bad car accident and ended up compound fracturing my right femur. And so I was down for 8 months in a leg brace and had to relearn to walk in physical therapy. And my doctor warned me at the time, problems like this might arise in the future. So I contacted my doctor and I asked, the problems you spoke of have arisen. I'm wondering, what's the best course of action? Do I do more physical therapy? Do I just take medication? What's up? She's like, well, you might have to start walking with a cane. Here's the thing, though. You can't be 27 years old and look like me and just start using a cane. Especially coupled with the other health problems that I have. I've gained 25 pounds since the pandemic started, and I was diagnosed as autistic last year, and I've developed hyperhidrosis, which means I just sweat like a motherfucker, especially out of my hands. So I'm just gonna have this steel cobra head cane getting visibly patinaed by my hands sweating and shit. People who used to know me are gonna be like, Derrick, what the hell happened, man? Are you doing a penguin thing? What's going on, man? And that's not the personality I wanted to cultivate, Autistic penguin from Batman was not what I wanted to become. If I had the option to cultivate a personality, I'd want to be one of those scar on the face, milky-eyed guys, Those guys are cool. Those guys that run the trailer park and shit. That's awesome, man. Getting all the divorcee pussy and shit. We could all dream to attain something like that, right? Oh boy, I was talking about earlier, I was in a bad car accident in 2013, and after my accident, I was really backed up because when you're given an intensive surgery, you're usually pumped full of a lot of narcotics and shit, and I was on morphine, Dilaudid, and Percocet all at the same time, and they had me on a whole litany of stool softeners as well. But I was constipated for probably an entire month. So from August 5th all the way to post 9/11, I did not take a poop. And, one night, just in the middle of September, I just woke up with this horrendous stirring in my gut, and I was like, it's time. And of course it was 2 or 3 in the morning, so nobody else in my house was awake to help me, and I could barely move. So I had to hobble my way up 12 stairs with my crutches. And when I finally got up there, I had to climb up onto the toilet because it was outfitted with one of those elderly people toilet risers that they use so that they don't have to go too low to the ground. And so I'm 3 feet off the air, or off the ground in the air with my legs straight out. Here's a fun science experiment you can do at home, friends. Try to take a shit with your leg just sticking straight out like that. See how well you do. And if you want to do the mode I was on, stack a couple books on the seat and get a couple feet up off the ground and see what you can do. It ain't gonna work out too good. I digress though. So I'm pushing I'm giving birth to triplets. And I eventually, after half an hour of solidly just sitting there pushing as hard as I could, felt a pressure release. And I was like, this is it. One more good oomph is gonna send this through. So I just focused all my chi, and I sent it into the one good push. And I felt what I can only describe as a Coke can size shit just escape my ass. And it made an audible into the toilet because it was so dense and heavy. And I felt maybe a millisecond of relief, but then what followed was pure agony because all of the stool that had been getting softened by the stool softeners sitting above the plug just sort of fell out of me. A Home Depot bucket's worth of soap scum just fell out of my ass. And immediately was followed by a stinging sensation too. And I was like, oh, so that's that I actually did just split myself wide open. That's great. And I don't think I've taken a solid shit since then. I have something to help substantiate that theory too. I got taken aback the other day because I was doing my laundry and I noticed how few boxers I actually have left because I've sharded so many times in the past year from just drinking so much. And now they kind of just look like the sad survivors of an apocalypse, just like all bundled together, just like, when's it gonna be our time, you know? It's only a matter of time. There's like a wise elder pair of underpants that's seen it all, and he's like, one day, we all end up in a Cub Foods bag, in a trash can, in the alley. Alright, let's stop talking about shitting, right? Let's talk about wiping. Do you guys wipe standing up or lying down? I like to take a census on that. Me personally, I don't wipe. But like, not, okay, I wipe, but it's a different, I have a bidet. And so, yeah, look, I'm not just walking around with shit in my ass. I'm a civilized human being to a degree, I promise. And I would have never gotten turned on to bidets if it wasn't for my old job. And I used to be a window cleaner, and I cleaned like big ass mansions and upper class houses and shit. So I got to see a lot of cool stuff. Like I got to use a bidet for the first time. But I didn't like that job because I didn't know that I grew up white trash until I started doing that job. And like I got to see how other people actually live. And I'm like, holy shit, man, you guys got a fucking furnace? That's crazy, man. Me and my family just slept in jackets in the winter. My parents called it playing Eskimo. In hindsight, that's kind of fucked up, right? They should have said playing Inuit. That's pretty offensive. Live and learn, they were born in a different time period and shit. You ever notice only white people say that, by the way? Born in like the wrong era? Like I've never heard a black person say, you know, I should have been born in the 1930s, man. It would have been great not to share a water fountain with you fucking bigots. My parents have like some old world isms to the way that they think. And I think I always knew that, and I always knew that I was white trash growing up, but I didn't like really want to accept it. But like the writing was on the wall, it was always kind of there. Like I would regularly wake up in the middle of the night to smoke detectors going off in my house thinking that it was on fire. And I'd get upstairs and there'd be smoke all like in the upstairs. And I would just see my mother in her nightgown cooking an entire pound of bacon to herself at 3 a.m. And she used to regularly like clutch her chest in agony while she'd be like watching television with my father. And she'd just be like, ooh, Rich, I don't know what's happening. I'm like, I don't know, Mom, maybe it's all the 3 a.m. bacon, for Christ's sake. You have gallons of grease trying to work its way through your circulatory system. Give your body a break, man. My poor father had to deal with that shit. You could see he was visibly in pain with how hard she was squeezing him too. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't know either, please stop. Look, he's a whole different animal too, because like he used to be kind of like an alcoholic when I was a kid, and he was never like abusive or anything. He would just sort of get loud and stupid. And I remember vividly when I was a kid, he threw a couch out of our sliding glass door on the second story and destroyed it because the Vikings lost a playoffs game. I'm like, dude, if you did that every time the Vikings lost, we'd be fucking homeless. And he kind of had some weird ideology instilled in him from his father, like Richard Johnson Sr. I'm Derrick Johnson, my father's Richard Johnson. His father's also Richard Johnson. He prefers to go by Dick, which I think is funny because his name's basically Penis. I got gifted a chair by my grandfather that I'm gonna take with me to my grave, man. It's a hand-carved rocking chair made out of wood, and it has laser engraved gold plaque on the back that says "For Grandpa Dick Only." I'm gonna get fucking mummified and placed in that chair in like a tomb, just eternally rocking. I fucking love it, man. I love that shit, but I hate the kind of ideology he instilled in my father. Because like my dad, when he still lived here, because they recently moved to Mississippi, because they're not sheeple, they had to get away from all the vaccine mandates. Lord help me for where I come from. Like he used to talk about the Twin Cities when I was a teenager, like, because I played in a lot of bands and stuff, so I'd play at clubs downtown, and he would talk about it the way that like a guy in overalls at a gas station in a horror movie talks about a cabin in the woods. Like Cedar Avenue. Folks don't go around Cedar Avenue no more. Strange things been afoot around Cedar Avenue. I'm like, what, Dad, racial integration? That's not strange, it's progress. But with all that said, though, I do miss him a lot because this last year was really weird because it was the first season that I spent the holidays without my family, and the first holiday that I spent without them was Thanksgiving, and it was weird too because it kind of coincided with me seeing a lot of this like Thanksgiving erasure attempts online. I don't know if anyone else is privy to what I'm talking about, but there were people kind of pushing a movement this year that I saw a lot more than any other year, which was cancel Thanksgiving. And I get where they're coming from because it's a holiday that celebrates racism and it celebrates colonialism and genocide and it's bad. But like, don't take a free day of work off away from us, man. Like, you can just call it something else. I don't think that's gonna bother any of us. You know, call it whatever you want, man. Call it White People Suck Dicks Day. I don't give a shit. As long as I get 8 hours PTO, I could give a fuck about anything, man. I don't know what I'm talking about PTO. I'm unemployed. That's kind of clear by my demeanor, I think. And the problem is I don't want to become more employable. I like the way I am now. Unemployed and thriving, you know? It's like mainly because I don't want to cut my hair. And like I thought about cutting my hair over the pandemic because it was just becoming a nuisance. Well, I shouldn't say over the pandemic. We're still in it. Over the quarantine. And my mother asked me when I said I was going to cut my hair, like, well, have you thought about donating it to Locks for Love? I'm like, no, I think I'm going to donate it to drag queens. Because I feel like terminally ill kids have had it too good for too long. You know what I'm saying? We're out here granting wishes for them already with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'm trying to start that Make-A-Bitch Foundation. You know what I'm saying, man? The trans community has my total support, dude. Especially the men. And you know why? Because trans dudes means more dudes, less chicks. Am I right? More dudes, less chicks. No, we're not on board with this one. There's a bro trapped in that bitch. Get him out of there. Nope, still not? All right, cool. The tag didn't work either. All right, we're crossing it off. Sorry, guys. That one works in the Dakotas, but not here. We want him back, baby. All right. I have a favorite trans man, too, and it's Elliot Page. That's formerly Ellen Page, who was like the star of movies like Juno and Hard Candy and stuff like that. And I love it because they won their fight against IMDb, and all of their previous works have been retconned to reflect that it's Elliot Page who played those roles. And I love it because now if you go on the IMDb page for Juno, it says it's a movie starring Michael Cera and Elliot Page. So they've retconned Michael Cera into being gay, and I think it's wonderful. Because now that's just a movie about him getting a man pregnant, and then that man turns around and is like, I'm making the decisions where this baby goes, and that's an alpha move, man. She punked him. And I think that's sweet, man. I didn't think we could emasculate Michael Cera any further, but here we stand. My only gripe with Juno now, though, is that they should have probably had a woman play that role. That's typical Hollywood bullshit, though, you know. Last Samurai starring Tom Cruise, Juno starring some guy. Some people get really choked up about that joke. I'm like, we're on the same team, I think. We all just appreciate the arts, right? I love the history of art and like art anthropology and shit like that. I think it's cool because a lot of people and like scientists and historians like to discuss why art first started. Was it for self-expression? Was it out of pure boredom? Did it happen by mistake? I personally like to think that all art was made so somebody could bust a nut. Because like if you look back on it, like cave paintings are always just like big-titted women running away from lions and shit. There's like fertility sculptures that are just hanging mad dong. Everyone was horny as hell before technology. We were just able to quell it with technology, I think. And I think you can trace back the ideology, or ideation rather, of any invention by being like, oh, that guy wanted to get pussy. Like the guitar, he's like, I could probably get pussy with this. Fucking, I think like fire too was probably only discovered so that we could jack off at night, right? Like these poor horny Neanderthals just can't see the cave titties in the middle of the night, so they're just wandering through the wilderness, just fully torched, looking for any source of illumination to light up the paintings. Till one day lightning struck a tree branch, and then Unga Bunga, man have fire, and we cranked it all night long. Now fast forward to today, and we got like George Foreman grills and light bulbs and shit. Future's cool, man. Well, cool to an extent, I think, because I don't fuck with robots. When I was a kid, I thought robots were super cool. But now I don't trust them because I think they're too smart. And like scientists and robotics engineers even had to like agree at a summit that we could only get so far with AI and robotics and we have to stop, or else we're going to reach something called the singularity, which is where AI and robots start learning faster than we do, and so then they start reproducing and taking over as the dominant species on the food chain. And I love that our only line of defense against the robot uprising are CAPTCHAs. Like a robot can't tell the difference between a bird and a street light, so he's not gonna fucking take over the world or something. I can't wait till an android gets sophisticated enough to go to a job interview to try to like infiltrate a human workspace, and the interviewer's like, well, your resume seems very impressive, sir, but can you show me every boat on this picture? And starts fucking panicking. That's a boat. That's a boat. And that's a boat. He looks at it. Oh, interesting. I couldn't help but notice you didn't point out this boat. He gets up, tries to run, fucking exposed wires and sparks flying everywhere. Not today, you mechanical pieces of shit. I used to fuck with robots too. Like when I was a kid, I was way into like Gundam and shit. I say as a kid, but if you go in my house now, it's just covered with Gundam still. Don't tell anyone I said that. This feels like a safe space to admit that I build Gundams, right?
Yeah.
Cool, right on. You guys are rad. You guys got beat up in school too. That's awesome. I got a gripe with robots now though, like I said, but like when I was a kid, I loved the shit out of them, but I was stupid as a kid, so that explains it. That explains why I would bow to the mechanical overlords, because I wasn't smart enough yet. I did a lot of weird and dumb shit when I was a kid too. Like I'm pretty sure I had sex with a TV when I was a kid. Because like when you're like 9 years old and you get horny, you know what to do with it yet, and like it gets like rock hard when you're a child because there's just not enough cock for all the blood going into it, and so like you just have this little like diamond just sticking between your legs, and you're just like just so frustrated, you don't know what to do with it. And I used to have when I play like Grand Theft Auto and get like lap dances from strippers. So one day I just like took my pants off, started like just up against the TV shit, and like I felt like it was a CRT tube TV, so I felt like the static like dance across the tip of my penis, and I thought that was sex, like that's what it felt like, and I was like, dude, sex is rad as fuck, man. And then fast forward to when I actually lost my virginity, and I was like, this is kind of disappointing, actually. Is there like a CRT TV around here or something? Maybe there's like a Girls Gone Wild commercial on. Like, those Girls Gone Wild commercials, man. I swear I developed like a Pavlovian response to Caribbean drums. I just become like immediately erect when I hear them shit. Like, oh shit, I got 45 seconds to buzz it up, man. Joe Francis is showing me titties on TV. Fucking... I think that was the magic of the suburbs. I think that's why my life was fun back then, and why like I compare my childhood to my adulthood in such like weird ways, because living in the city kind of made my demeanor really shitty and like made me sad as a person. Like as a child, I never imagined I was going to start doing cocaine, and then I live in St. Paul for less than 6 months and I'm doing cocaine like every night. And I've stopped now, thankfully, which is nice, and I have good reasoning why, too. There was a night that was, like, one of the only times I've ever had one of those things that would, like, end up on, like, a Behind the Music documentary of, like, when did it all go south for you? And this was when, like, over last winter, I was doing cocaine with my roommate, and it was probably, like, 3 a.m., and we had run out, and he was like, I want to get more. And I was like, me too, because that's how cocaine works. When you do some, you want more. And so he was like, I know a guy who could get us right now. And I was like, any guy who can get you cocaine at 3 a.m. is probably not a guy you want to be around. And he's like, he wants us to come to his house. And I'm like, a good sign, a good sign. And so he drives us over there. And when we arrive, it was like a nice enough looking house, and he was like, I'm in the backyard, and it's winter, so I'm like, what the fuck is he doing in his backyard? And we go back there, and he's just in a hot tub by himself, listening to a Bluetooth speaker, just doing cocaine alone. And I was like, yeah, this seems like a chill guy. This guy seems like the kind of dude I want to spend my fleeting time on this planet with. That sounds rad as fuck. And he was like, hey guys, how's it going? You know, you want to hang out? And I'm like, not really, you know, and I'm trying to use the excuse like, I don't have a swimsuit with me. He's like, well, we have swimming trunks upstairs. And he knew my roommate already, and he was like, I have a pair that's definitely going to fit you, so you can have those. And then he points to me and he goes, and there's a pair for you for sure. And I get up there and they're like Ken doll sized fucking shorts. And so, like, I'm in the bathroom already uncomfortable as shit, because the dude, like, he kind of looked like the guy who backs into Jonah Hill in Superbad. You know what I'm talking about? Joe Latrulio. So the dude got, like, a weird demeanor to begin with, and he's wanting me to, like, get in his outfit for him and hang out in a hot tub. And so when I'm trying to put them on, they were, like, those drawstring ones that tie shut, and I couldn't even tie past my pubic hair. And so I just sort of had it, like, my whole bush just sticking out. And I was like, this is wrong. I shouldn't be here. And I was thinking about, like, my childhood and, like, my friends I had growing up and, like, things that we did for fun. And then fast forward to me standing in a stranger's bathroom being like, how do I hide my pubic hair from him when we get into this hot tub? And when we got in there, the guy just started grilling me about my life and about, like, anxiety and shit. And he somehow extrapolated for me that I take anxiety medication. He was like, well, what medication are you on? How much milligram? What's the dosage? You could probably wean off it. I am a doctor. And I'm like, you're a fucking doctor? We're in a doctor's hot tub right now, and I feel more like I'm going to be molested than any other time in my life. And I really don't have a good cap for that, but I feel like that's a good enough cautionary tale for don't do cocaine. You end up with your bush out in a hot tub with a doctor, and it's not the most pleasant experience that you can have in the world. Oh man, it definitely wasn't as cool as Winnie the Pooh. That's what I thought about a lot when I was there, actually. I thought about how I used to dress as Winnie the Pooh every year for Halloween. And, like, I was actually, like, a cute little kid with, like, a bright future. And then fast forward to, like, me breaking my nose 6 more times and me getting, like, 100 pounds heavier. And I'm not a cute kid. And now I'm a guy with his bush out in a hot tub. And it makes me sad, man. I want to go back to the Winnie the Pooh. But if you go back to it as an adult, you kind of notice fucked up shit. Like, 1/8 of their population is homeless. That's fucked up, man. That's bad. That's bad statistics. Poor Eeyore, dude. He doesn't have a house. He just lives in, like, a tent made of sticks. He doesn't have medical insurance, so they just hammer his tail back on. It's fucking depressing, man. Another thing that's fucked up, too, Pooh has a sign above his door that says Mr. Sanders. And I'm like, who the fuck is Mr. Sanders? And I Googled it, and it said that Mr. Sanders was the previous occupant of the residence. I'm like, that's careful wording. Pooh fucking killed this guy. He's a wild animal. I saw Grizzly Man, and I saw how it ended. You ever think about how bad his shirt must smell, too? His cartoon characters just wear the same shit every day. It's like, update your drip, fam. Fuck. Like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, that guy probably smells like shit. He lives in a van with a fucking dog. I think he's got a tapeworm. Because that guy can just eat and eat and eat, and he doesn't gain a single pound. He's still hippie skinny and shit. It's weird. And that's got to be how he can ingest twine, too. They were tying down like 35-layer subs with twine and just eating that shit. Fuck that. Tapeworms are involved with that. And it's kind of a weird juxtaposition to think about that the dog was pulling rope out of the owner's ass. It's weird. I had a fun thought the other day. Do you guys know car guys? Like anyone who's a car guy loves their vehicle more than their family. I was wondering why car guys all name their cars like female names, and it finally clicked the other day. It's because they want to know what it feels like to know what they're doing inside a woman for once. And I think more power to them. They've gamed the system, you know. I got a little bit of time left. What should I talk about, gang? Maybe a murder most foul? I listen to a murder mystery podcast a lot. And I don't know, it's good like background noise for when I'm doing work and stuff, and I like learning about true crime, and like I used to be like one of those little weird goth kids that would study about, you know, murdered serial killers. Like, you don't understand why Columbine happened actually. It's because my parents don't talk to me. That's why I'm supportive of it. Did you meet people like that, people like me in high school who like thought that like Columbine was like a misunderstood like almost like loving thing? Am I digging a hole right now? No one else was on that? You guys didn't hang out on 4chan? You don't understand, man. Marilyn Manson gets me, dude. So I listen to a podcast about murder. And the host is like insanely informative, and he talks about like a lot of cool shit that keeps me like really invested in the show. but he also has like a really monotone voice, and he doesn't segue for the ads that he has on the show at all. So he'll be talking about something really visceral and fucked up, like he'll be like, the victim's head was severed in front of her fiance as he was forced to watch in terror. Becoming a 5-star chef has never been easier than with BlueApron.com. Try the hearty stromboli and use promo code DOUBLEHOMICIDE for half off your first order. Investigators were stonewalled by the amount of ejaculate left at the scene. All right, I'm Derrick Johnson, y'all. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
All right, give it up for Derrick Johnson, everybody. Great work, great work.